Got to put the mic on again. Thanks everybody for being with me, the whole zero of you. But that doesn't seem to matter to me. I put out these videos regardless. I like to think though that you were so inspired by some of the videos that I put out that you'd also like to subscribe. Please feel free to do so. It would be nice to hear from you, and particularly if you've got any comments to make about any of my videos. And this particular video that I'm doing at the moment is a live feed, only because I've tried 5 times to record it and every time I've stuffed it up. And I thought, oh well, why not just try and this time just do a live feed, get it out there so I don't have to edit it. And if I stuff up along the way, so I'm human, so what? So let me know what you think in the comment section below as well, because I'm going to ask you a really interesting question today, which is, do you believe that we should release detainees? Now, I want us to consider that in particular, this has occurred because of a High Court decision, as most of you well-informed individuals will know, occurred a couple of weeks ago in relation to a bloke who they've called Mr. Alphabet, X, Y, Z, 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 B, V, and a K, I believe. And Mr. X, Y, Z, Z, and Y, and a K has been released because they put up someone challenged the fact that he was a detainee forever in our current system, and that was unconstitutional. And the High Court, in their profound wisdom, have decided that it wasn't constitutional to lock people up forever. Now, what I want to talk about, I guess primarily, is that concept today. And I've got a couple of other videos that I may or may not get to, depending on how much I rant and rave. But what I'd like you to do is to consider whether or not a person should be, regardless of crime, be detained forever. Now, we don't have a system that in our criminal system that actually does that. We have a system which says that the maximum term that you could, from state to state, it varies, I guess, but basically, you know, the maximum term for murder is 25 years. We're hoping in that time that you've been involved in the criminal system for so long that you've learned how to be a better criminal. And at the end of that, you'll be able to leave and continue whatever it was that you're doing before that was distasteful to the community. So this is our system as it exists. And it has a human rights element to it as well, because we work on this notion, I guess, that people commit a crime, they redeem themselves for that crime. I don't think the court system or the correctional system necessarily does just that. It probably does the opposite. And there are other things we could put in place to mitigate against a person revisiting the crime. So we're probably not doing enough as it is, but the belief is that when it comes to detainees, and this is the issue that I wrestle with, and I'm prepared to let you know that I find it a problem, and it is something which I think we all should try and wrestle with. So from a human rights perspective, it isn't appropriate that we lock people up indefinitely, particularly those people, number one, who have not committed a crime but simply cannot be returned to another country, who are asylum seekers for whatever reason, and for reasons we do not know, cannot be returned to another country. No one will take them for varying reasons. Some of those reasons probably have got nothing to do with the individual. It's just that people are over this asylum seeker thing and that they don't want any more people entering their country. Fair enough, be that as it may. That problem's not going to go away. In fact, it's likely to get worse over time. But nevertheless, that's the way it is. So should those people, to start with, those people who have not committed a crime but are simply unable to find a place to reside in apart from this country, should they be detained forever simply because of that reason? Now, I believe that if the High Court ruled on that alone, and look, number one, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just a humble social worker, but looking at it from a social justice point of view, it doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem appropriate, and doesn't probably, as the High Court has already stated, it's not constitutional in the first place. So those people should be released. Then there's this other group of people who have committed a crime. Now we need to consider them, because some of those crimes are horrific. So, and Dutton and his crew, and also for both sides for that matter, keep highlighting who those people are. Dutton does it because he wants us to be fearful in our community because these people have been released into our community. Now, we don't know which communities they're released into. Have they moved in next door to you, for example? Where are they? Do we know where they are? No, and we'll probably never be told either. And be that as it may. Should we be concerned? Well, firstly, I need to point out the fact that there's 140 of them that have been released. Not all of them fit into that category. How many of them fit into that category? We're not too sure at this particular moment. But it would be a small percentage of the total number of people that have been detained. Now, some of those people that have been detained have also served their time. Now, some of them, we believe they're pedophiles, rapists, murderers. They're kind of the worst of the worst. And I'm certainly one who would think, well, if you're a pedophile, you've kind of fucked up somebody's life for most of their life, and therefore you probably shouldn't be released back into the community. And the reason why I say that is that I know from my own experience working with some of those people, changing that behaviour and the kind of justification they have for behaving the way that they do is really difficult to change. I'm not saying it's not possible to change, but it is unlikely. So are those people like to be a danger to the community? Yes, they are. If you're a murderer, under whatever circumstance that may be, are you likely to be released and commit that crime after 20, 25 years? Probably not, actually, because, some of those crimes are done in the spur of the moment. Some of them are not necessarily preconceived crimes. Some of them just happen. So, those sort of people and rapists and others, well, whatever category they sit in, if they're a serial rapist, certainly there should be something done about that. In our system, you go to a parole board, and a parole board will decide whether you've made enough changes in your life in order to be released. There doesn't seem to be that system within this current immigration system, and I don't know to what extent an assessment has been made of these people. I understand, according to the minister, that they have, but to what degree that's been done, we do not know. Is it as rigorous as the system which we employ in the criminal justice system in order to look at whether someone is likely to revisit those particular crimes? So there's a lot we don't know. But this is the question for me. So think about this. How many people are in our community, and we'll just start with this one particular cohort, terrible cohort. I believe all these people should be locked up and stay there. But nevertheless, that's kind of pushing back against my social justice understandings and ethics and principles and that sort of shit. So, but if you're a pedophile, for example, if you're a pedophile, how many pedophiles are there that are in our community today? Now, we don't know the answer to that, but I can assure you that there are more than you and I would like to think about. That next door to you right now, I'm not suggesting that's the case, but next door to you at the moment could be living a pedophile. And, the dark web is full of them. And there are those people that act upon that behaviour and openly sexually abuse kids, and there are those that just share the child pornography. And I think they're just as bad as the others in a way, but nevertheless, they're out there. And those people who commit those crimes, and there's a scale of the sort of crimes that people would commit in paedophilia, from just having photographs of kids to horrific videos of kids to sending those videos to abusing kids. So they're on a spectrum as well. And there's certain people along that spectrum who perhaps don't need to be locked up forever to stop that behaviour. You're not directly affecting or impacting anybody, but there are those that are. And they're the ones that should be locked up forever, I think. But the point I'm making is that those people are out there. Whether we like it or not, they are. And then there's this other group of people, whether they be murderers, rapists or whatever, they're also out there. In fact, I would argue that there's less likely to be murderers out there because they're likely to be locked up, but there's certainly murderers out there who have been charged with murder, and because of whatever their sentence is, they are now released and into the community. And they may be next to you. There's a stack of rapists out there because as we well know, there's a lot of women who have been raped who don't report the rape because the court system is so fucked that they choose not to do that because they either won't be heard or they feel so berated by the court system itself that they choose not to go there. So there are all those people out there as well. And then there are a whole host of other just terrible human beings who commit all sorts of terrible, terrible crimes. And are they out there? Of course they are. So why are we then, okay, let's come back to the original point. I hope you're with me. Why are we then focusing on just this one cohort, that is asylum seekers? There's a couple of reasons. I think the primary reason why there is this focus is because we want to demonise this particular group of people. So because you come from another country, because you may have a different religious background than the pseudo-Christian type religion we have here, because you are different, have a different coloured skin, have a different ethnic background, then that difference means that you, for some reason, must be targeted. That we want to make you, we want to demonise you. So the argument basically is that we need to be this white culture. I've spoken about this many times, in fact, in terms of Bolt and other people who are just revolting human beings, in my view, who are selling this idea that we are this exclusively, or we want to be this exclusively white Anglo-Celtic culture, who have these hard and solid Christian beliefs and all this sort of crap, and that this is the way we need our society to be. And these other people are inherently fracturing that sense of how these people want us to be. And the government, regretfully, has grabbed hold of this idea and they're trying to sell it to all of us. Now, the reason why I think this is particularly mean to happen this way is that after The Voice, the government realised, and incorrectly as it turns out, and there's a report on this which I will report on at some later date, that majority of Australians, for whatever reason, take a type of racist view. Now, I won't say, even though I do think so, I won't say it's specifically a racist view, but I will say to some extent they have this racist view of Indigenous people, people that are black, people that are low socioeconomic background, people that are poor, people that come from different cultures, and so on. So they have taken that notion, which is part of the Liberal Party's philosophy, if you like, and they've embedded it in this High Court decision. And I think we need to start to really think about this more critically, is that do we believe, firstly, that if people have committed a crime and they've served their sentence and consequently they've been punished for that, isn't this an issue, though, that we need to think about more holistically, if you like? That there are people who do commit crimes, they realise that they've done the wrong thing, never likely to do it again, and they're released into our community. So why are these detainees? Why are these detainees any different? Well, it's worth thinking about. I personally believe that the system that works for us in our community, generally the justice system, should apply to everybody right across the board. Whether you're an asylum seeker, whether you've been detained for whatever reason, that system should apply for all of us. So someone's put in a post, thank you, Flying Amadio, I think I know who you are. Isn't it a little ironic that the country that was originally UK criminals is afraid of criminals coming from another country? Yeah, beautiful, man. I couldn't agree with you more that in this country that's established by criminals, where basically we're all immigrants of some description, hereditary type immigrants anyway, that we should be having these sorts of issues about people coming into this sacred land, and the only sacred land that this is and that belongs to are Indigenous people who have very little voice in this country as it stands right now. So I'll be interested in your comments below. Thanks for joining with me. I just wanted to say, please subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you think of my comments. I'm happy, I've had a number of people over the last couple of weeks disagree with what I've said. And look, at the end of the day, that's fine. Disagree away. I'll have an argument with you nevertheless. But I prefer to hear from you. If you do disagree, I think there's a lot of people that actually agree with me who don't make comments. It seems to be those people that actually tend to want to disagree with me that do. But go ahead. I don't really care. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I had a couple of videos to show, but I've already run for 13 minutes, and that's probably quite long enough. My wife tells me she doesn't listen to anything or watch anything that's over 6, so she won't be watching this. So let me know what you think in the comments below. In the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, and make sure everybody that you're around you that you love is cared for. So take care, look after yourselves, and particularly be safe.